earlier I mentioned the cutters, which are crisscross, as you can see. And I think I went through the process of telling you about this bolt that wouldn't come out on this one, which is a right-hand thread. That one's a left-hand thread, I do believe. So what I've done is I've welded that bar, cleaned up the bar, cut a groove in the bolt. I was going to use a piece of steel bar, which is here. Don't know if you guys can see that. I put a hole in the end of it, and the idea was it was going to slot over the nut like that, but I haven't got a drill big enough to go over the top of that nut head, so that hit that idea on the head. So the next best thing was this bar, and what I've done, as I said, is ground a V in the middle of the top of the bolt, and I'm going to see if we can push it round. So here we go. Yeah, it's gone. That's good. So that weld held, and now I can get that loose from the shaft, which is a good thing. So I'll be back later with some more work. Bye for now. Right folks, we got the bar which I used to weld to this nut. No, not nut, it's a bolt. Get it right. This bolt is a left-hand thread, and it's the one that goes into, well, they're on the floor down there actually, but it fits in there, and it was my fault. I rounded it off with the impact driver, and I didn't think, if I'm being absolutely honest, this is a left-handed thread, and I wasn't quite sure, but after thinking about it and then checking up with the local lawnmower workshop, they said, yep, you're definitely right, it's a left-handed thread. Well, the damage had been done by then. It rounded off, and as I said earlier in the video, I couldn't get a grip with the socket, so I welded this bar onto it, and I've just dressed this bar because I use that bar for a few things here and there. So I've ground it back to some sort of bar shaped, if you like, and this bolt, well, I think we'll probably discard this bolt because, as you can see, it's pretty naff. There you go. But the weld worked, and it allowed me to get the bolt out. I couldn't get it out before. Even before it rounded off the top of it, it still wouldn't come out. So overnight, soaked in penetrating oil, WD and all that sort of stuff, it seems to have done the job. So anyway, I'll be back later with some more stuff on this project. I'm waiting for a bearing splitter to come, because these two here, let me just change that if I can. Yeah, that one, the bearing needs to come off of there. I'll go through that when I get it. I've got to get a splitter in there. Bearing, it's a bearing puller and splitter. Put the splitter in there between the actual base of the unit and the ball race itself, and then pull that way. I'll go through it when I get it. And it's the same on the other one, but again, you've got to be a bit careful with these, because one is different to the other. They look the same, and outside they are the same, but one has the left-handed thread, so you've got to be quite careful about that. Anyway, that's where we are at the moment, so I'll be back later with some more info. Right, chaps and lasses, whilst we're waiting for these this bearing splitter, which is, as I said earlier, to split these, thought I'd start working on the cutting blades. They're a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. Paint's coming off, And they're just a bit scabby. I suppose they're going to get like that. I couldn't hold them in the vise. That was a bit of a problem. So what I decided to do is to make I think you might call it a holder, a mandrel, some kind of jig. And I've drilled 2 holes in the wood, same as this bit here. I'll just come and get you and show you what I mean. What I've decided to do is to drill 2 holes in the wood. Now this is what holds the blades together so that they're crisscross, this little jig here, or clamp. Obviously the bolt in the mower is the one I showed you earlier, which gave me a problem as far as the left hand thread and the right hand thread, and the fact it was rounded off. Yeah, I know, as I said earlier, it was my fault. Anyway, this holds all this together quite firmly in the vise for me to sharpen this edge. If you look carefully in there, I don't know if you can see that, I've ground along here, and that now, I could probably cut my beard off with that actually. That's quite good. Not as good as what I'd like. I'm going to go along there a bit more and see how we go. The light's not very good in here, is it? No, it's not very good at all. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Just grinding along that edge with a angle grinder. And there we are. I'm going to put you back on the tripod. That side's not too bad now. Just going to go with the wire brush on the drill. Yeah, that's okay. I'm going to turn it round and do the other side. I'll show you right from the scratch what I do. First thing I need to do really is go over it with a file. That's if I don't drop it. Looking at the blade, it would appear this curve here, don't know if you can see that, guys, it's not very good. Yeah, can you see that? This curve is raised, it's like that. And that bit's fairly straight. Now, the way I understand the way this works, as it cuts the grass there, this raised bit here flicks it into the middle of the chute. The chute is in the middle of the mower, and then it blows it into the basket on the back, the catcher. But I don't know why this is raised. It must be something to do with what Husqvarna have decided within their design. I don't know, but there we are. Paint is pretty bad, it's all coming off, flaking off, but it's not a big deal because we're going to give these a coat of black hammerite. So I'm going to get on it with the, excuse me, this hasn't got to be a really good finish. I mean, as long as it's taken down to a point where it's reasonable, it doesn't matter. There we go. Right, so that's that. I'm going to now grind that angle. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Can you guys still see that? Yeah, I think you can. I've got to be a bit careful here because I don't want sparks going into the lens of the camera. So, here we go. I'm going to start off here and curve it a little bit. getting there. Bloody hot though. Yeah, it's getting there. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. That'll cut nicely, he says, hopefully. Let's get rid of all the muck on the edge. So that side's all right. So what I'm going to do now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to change the camera position. I'm going to take this over to the other side of the bench. Just bear with me a minute. I'm going to undo this screw. Might use the drill on this one with a big impact bit. In reverse. Now it comes. The bearing puller has come through this afternoon, so I've set this up in the vise. And I'm going to start off by easing this bearing. This is the bearing here, as you can see. This is part of the spindle, and we need to bring that up. So the idea is that we close these two up with the aid of these nuts. And this, in turn, I don't know if you can see this, guys. I'm going to take you off the camera, off the tripod for a minute. This, in turn, pulls the bearing this way towards me. So as it comes this way, you'll see this close up a little bit at a time, with, as I said, with the aid of those nuts. I'm going to see if we can put you back so you can see what's going on. Right, hope you guys can see that. Here goes. Trick here is to do a little bit at a time. Ooh. It's beginning now to move the bearing. It's not a lot, but it's enough. Now I've got a good bite on it. I'm going to take that out and put the rest of it together with probably a socket as a spacer. Let's see how we go. And what I've done, I've put these in. I'm going to go and get a spanner to tighten them down. $17mm. So they're tight. Now we're going to see if we can lift this, push against that, and bring that up. And to do that, I need these two. Take the nuts off the top. Whoop. And the washers. Then put our yoke across the top and line that up. And line that up so that it pushes on there. That's quite important because you need to distribute that force evenly. Put our nuts and washers back on the top. And tighten them down. Now at this point, we're ready to push on here to pull the bearing up. But to do that, we need to have this held quite firm. So, to do that, I'm going to probably put part of this in the vise. Let's see how we go. Don't think I need to. Let's see how we go pulling this up. Started to move. It's not that hard actually. If you look carefully on there, you can see the bearing is now started to move. There we go. Where is it? You see the gap? Started to move away from the flange. You don't need to put a lot of effort on there, providing you get it central. I have seen other places on the YouTube where this is not tight enough and it was skew if this wasn't central to that shaft, and that is quite important. As you can see, that bearing is slowly but surely coming up. Now it's off. So we can relax that one. We can relax these. We can relax the top ones. The whole thing will come out. So we'll put that one there because we've got the other one to do. But as you can see, that bearing now, I don't know if you can see that, yeah. Bearing is come away from the shaft, which is what I wanted. So that's the old bearing. So that's number one done. Now we need to do number two. Number two. there's a piece of felt between the bearing and the flange, which is a good idea really, because that acts as a seal. So we'll tighten this one up again to get a grip. You can see that. Might need to go a little bit further in. Yep, I think that might do it. This one's quite hard. So I'm going to put some penetrating oil in there. Now you can use WD. This is 3-in-1 penetrating oil. Just get it in there. Hopefully that will get right down inside the shaft. Might give us a little bit more of an edge. Now it's pulling. I think a lot of it comes down to just breaking that initial seal. And I think the 3-in-1 has helped that there. And that's definitely pulling it up from the shaft. Again, you can see the massive gap. Not far to go now.